Hi, it's Amy Dydemeyer. I've got a little tip for you for under eye darkness. I know I've posted some before, but I think, just like with skincare, there's not a one size fits all with makeup either. So I like to give lots of different tips so that you can find what works well for you. So a lot of times when we get too much product under here, like we want to cover up the darkness, but we also want to not get too much product there unless you're like 12 or 15, because it can settle there, it can get wrinkly, it can really look bad. So I'm going to give you a tip for some lightweight product under there with some added moisture, because sometimes when we get creasy, it's because that area needs some more moisture. Okay, so I'm just going to take my concealer and I'm going to just take the tiniest little dab on the back of my hand, like really, really teeny. And then an even teenier amount of some oil. Now, I've not used this tip with eye cream before, or maybe I have a long time ago. I don't remember. It didn't work for me, so I didn't log it in my head. But I'm going to use our natural nourishing oil because an oil is just so hydrating. And it's also okay if you have oily skin to use a nourishing oil. It's totally fine. But you can see I've got my dropper barely full, and I'm not even going to squeeze it. I'm going to just touch it to the back of my hand, and then I'm going to use my ring finger, because we always want to use our ring finger with the under eye area, and I'm just going to work those together. Okay, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of that color. I'm going to tap it under here, trying to really just keep it in that spot where it's dark and not get outside of that, because if you're lightening outside of that, you're kind of dismissing it. See the difference? And it's just a really lightweight, gentle lift. Okay. And if you need some more, you can go back in on top of it, do it again. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually give it a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to trace a little bit of powder underneath. Now I want to give it some time because, excuse me, because the oil needs time to absorb in, and I don't want to like wipe that away or have the powder absorb all the oil. I want my skin to absorb the oil. Okay, so after a couple of minutes, I'm just going to take my loose powder. I love translucent for myself. You can also use colored if you prefer, but you're just going to take like a little tiny bit, and I always work it out on the palm of my hand, and then you're going to dab lightly underneath just to get a really, really light trace of powder without a lot of dense heaviness. Okay, that's probably an oxymoron. That's okay. So I hope that you like this tip. Give it a try. If you do have oily under eyes, which I tend to have oily under eyes, it might get a little bit oily later in the day. So if you just want to take your powder with you and just gently pat underneath there, or you can use, if you've got our beauty blotters, you can use that real gently underneath there. You want to try not to press so that you're not lifting the product, but just to lift away that oil. So I hope that helps. It's one of my new favorite tips, and the older I get, the more I need to cover up my under eyes. So let me know what you think, and let me know if you want to see anything else. Thanks for tuning in.